weapons release codes have been transmitted to the computer. And we now have access to the computer, seeing as we fixed it previously. I mean, we had access before, but now it's working properly. We could establish a link with the Jericho, but we need to enter a password, which we currently do not have. Yeah, that's fine. We only need to make 2 steps to connect to the Jericho, which I'm sure we can do later on. This entire video is going to be one big information dump. As now the computer is working, we can access all sorts of topics.
Computer?
Yes?
So, sit back and enjoy.
Are you now tied into all the nodes across the ship?
Yes, I have access to all of the ship's systems.
Oh yes, in a previous video I mentioned that I wasn't aware or couldn't remember the prompt to find the transmitter to fix replace the modules. We could have found that information on the computer here, but that's a bit too late now.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Weapons.
Please specify weapon subsystem.
Tell me about the Hype Telecon system.
All information about the Hype Telecon system is classified as Top Secret Omega. Because you are now the acting commanding officer of the Lexington and have a current SSBI and Top Secret clearance, I am now temporarily upgrading your clearance.
Ooh, thank you.
Until such time as a senior officer assumes command of the Lexington, in accordance with OPNAV Vinst 5510.1 and ASOC DSO OPSEC Guidelines, Section 72, you now have access to compartmentalized information designated as Top Secret Omega, Gamma, and Delta.
System status, please.
The system is awaiting activation.
Tell me about the system. How do I actually work the Hype Telecon system once I'm in?
I will help you learn how to use the system once you have followed the startup sequence and jacked into the bridge tactical console. It would be pointless to try and cover all of the operational details until such time.
Can't you just do it for me?
You must be at the bridge console.
Tell me about the system. Okay. How do I get the Hype Telecon system up and running?
There is an automated checklist available for system initialization. You can access this checklist from the bridge tactical consoles. Follow the instructions.
How does Hype Telecon combat compare to normal combat operations?
During a normal combat operation, I work with a tactical station operator to define the parameters of the upcoming encounter prior to the launch of the drones. Once the drones are committed, I provide the operator with feedback about the progress of the battle. Things usually happen so fast that this feedback is usually a recap of the action rather than a blow-by-blow accounting.
What about the computer component of the Hype Telecon system?
My role during combat is primarily to provide the operator with a mechanism for communicating with the drones.
Do you give the operator complete control over the drones during Hype Telecon operations?
No. The drones still use their onboard battle management software once they have engaged or been engaged by an enemy drone or ship. The operator can deploy the drones, set waypoints, designate targets, and control the concentration of forces.
Why not direct control over drone weapons?
There is a fraction of a second delay in communication due to the distance between the drones and the Lexington. This delay could prove fatal in an encounter.
Will my perception of time be slowed down after ingesting hype?
Only when you are physically connected to the Hype Telecon system on the bridge.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Weapons.
Please specify weapon subsystem.
Hype Telecon system operations.
What do you want to know about the Hype Telecon system?
Tell me about the system. Where can I find the hype system components?
The MMI goggles and the hype drug are stored in a safe inside the medical officer's quarters.
How do I get into the safe?
The safe is equipped with a retinal scanner coated with the medical officer's retinal pattern.
Can you just open the safe for me?
The safe is a standalone unit. I have no access to the safe.
So how am I supposed to get into the safe?
You'll have to figure out a way. Perhaps brute force is the answer.
I'm guessing that is some kind of hint.
If I use the cutting torch, I may damage the contents of the safe.
I can't help you there.
Tell me about the system. Is there any detailed information about the system?
A complete file on the Hype Telecon system is stored along with the Telecon MMI and Hype system components.
You heard Decker warn me about approaching enemy ships. What are my odds?
Without the Hype Telecon system, your chances of surviving an encounter with anything bigger than a small destroyer are very slim.
I distinctly heard him mention destroyers and cruisers.
Your options seem limited.
You're very encouraging.
You asked.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Weapons.
Please specify weapon subsystem.
CICS.
What would you like to know about the CICS?
System status, please.
The CICS sustained some damage during the attack by the Dharma's drones. Combat effectiveness is at 80%. The system is currently active and standing by.
List CICS system components.
The Lexington's close-in combat system consists of 8 missile launchers, 2 railgun turrets, and several chaff ejectors mounted at various points on the Lexington's outer hull.
How effective is the CICS?
The CICS can effectively protect the Lexington from an attack by up to 2 UN Gali-class battle drones, or any ship under direct human command, from a one-man fighter to a battleship.
What about multiple drones?
The CICS is not highly effective against drones. The lasers, railguns, and missiles are capable of intercepting and destroying enemy missiles and drones given enough time. Unfortunately, the time required to destroy even one enemy Tavek-class drone usually exceeds the time available during an attack.
The CICS doesn't seem to be very effective.
Every bit helps. In combat, you need every advantage you can get.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Weapons.
Please specify weapon subsystem.
Analysis of opposing forces, please.
Please consult the tactical console on the bridge for tactical analysis. Visual aids will assist you in the analysis.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Navigation.
What do you wish to know?
System status, please.
The fusion pulse drive engines are operating within acceptable parameters. The FTL and intrasystem navigation subsystems, sensors, and data stores are all nominal. The Tau Ceto jump drive is operational and standing by, but we are several million kilometers away from the nearest jump point. The OMS suffered minor damage during the battle with the Dharma's drones, but is currently operational.
Where are we?
The Lexington is in a 0.2G powered orbit, 400 kilometers above the planet Persephone, codename Pandora. the sixth planet in the Deneb Kaitos star system, 68 light-years away from Earth.
Why are we in a powered orbit?
Standard procedure is to maintain a powered orbit so that the fusion engines can be kept ignited and pointed away from the planet's surface. A powered orbit also provides enough acceleration to keep objects on surfaces and feet on the floor.
Why didn't Captain Dana take the Lexington out of orbit during the fight?
He did. When the Dharma ordered the Lexington to surrender, the captain put the Lexington back into a powered orbit prior to evacuating the ship.
How do you know? You were disconnected at the time.
I gained access to all log information when you reactivated me.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Navigation.
What do you wish to know?
Why are we in a powered orbit?
Do you intend to abandon the mission?
I think that line of dialogue was bugged. But if we decide to abandon the mission, then understandably, the game ends.
No.
Then I advise you to remain in orbit. You need to get down to the planet's surface.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Engineering.
What do you wish to know?
Give me a general status report, please.
Essential ship systems are operating within acceptable parameters. There are multiple Criticality 2 faults throughout the ship, but most of the affected systems either have backups or are non-essential systems.
How is the power reactor doing?
Core temperature has stabilized within acceptable parameters. The loss of coolant from the RCS qualifies as a Criticality 2 fault, but otherwise the reactor is now operating normally.
Tell me about the radiation leak in the reactor spaces.
The reactor spaces are still contaminated and will remain so until a cleanup crew can board the Lexington and move through all the compartments in the reactor spaces. The elevator shaft has been flushed, and the engineering level is now available from the elevator control panel.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Cyber systems.
What do you wish to know?
Give me a status report.
I am operating using my secondary processor cores. The primary processor cores were taken offline by an enemy energy pulse during the battle with the Dharma's drones. The primary cores are badly damaged. The main data stores were unaffected by the energy surge, and thus my function is unimpaired. There is no remaining backup system, however.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Science.
The only science topics available concern Persephone, the artifact, and this region of space.
Okay. Tell me about the artifact.
The IX probe report that Admiral Decker described was sketchy at best. Scanners recorded a concentration of metal buried about 200 meters under the surface of the planet. Near the metallic anomaly was the outline of a large regular structure made from an unknown composite material. A tall, thin tower extends from the underground structure to the surface. Alliance scientists theorize that this tower is a marker of some kind.
What else?
That is all we know about the artifact.
Tell me about Persephone.
Persephone is the sixth planet in orbit around Beta Ceti, also known as Deneb Kaitos. Persephone's orbit is retrograde and has an orbital period of 3 Earth years. Distance to Beta Ceti is 11 astronomical units. Persephone has a surface gravity equivalent to 2.5 times Earth normal and a diameter of 21,233 kilometers. The composition of the planet's core and crust is unknown, but surface material includes rock, water ice, and liquid and frozen methane and other hydrocarbons. Spectral analysis of the atmosphere shows components including methane, nitrogen, hydrogen, ethane, acetylene, ethylene, and hydrogen cyanide.
Tell me about the star.
We are currently in the Beta Ceti star system, part of the constellation Cetus, or Ceti, meaning whale. Beta Ceti, also known as Deneb Kaitos, is of spectral class K03. It is orange in color, with a surface temperature of approximately 4,800 degrees Kelvin. There is one known jump point in this star system.
Tell me about the other planets in this star system.
The system has 8 planets. They range in size from 5,216 to 76,932 kilometers in diameter. Deneb Kaitos 1 and 2 are essentially small balls of rock at distances of 0.72 and 1.6 astronomical units from the star. Deneb Kaitos 3 is 13,000 kilometers in diameter and lies 2.4 astronomical units away from the star, with a nickel-iron core and an atmosphere consisting primarily of hydrogen sulfide. Deneb Kaitos 4 resembles Mars in size and appearance and lies 5 astronomical units out. Deneb Kaitos 5, 7, and 8 are gas giants that range from 36,000 to 76,932 kilometers in diameter. Deneb Kaitos 8 is 35 astronomical units away from the star.
How far away from Earth are we?
We are currently 68 light-years away from Earth.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Medical.
What do you wish to know?
Please tell me about HYPE's effects on the brain.
Detailed information on the physiological effects of HYPE can be found in a file in the medical officer's quarters.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
Give me access to subsystems, please.
What systems?
Communications.
What do you wish to know?
Is the TCS repaired?
The TCS is now fully operational.
Well, good. Please link me up with the Alliance base on Erebus.
You will have to use the TCS console in the communications center on Deck 2 in order to make contact with Erebus.
System status, please.
All communication systems are operating within acceptable parameters.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
General inquiry.
Ask away.
I'd like to talk about the battle for Persephone.
Okay.
Was the Dharma completely destroyed?
Yes. The enemy ship was reduced to a cloud of gas and metal fragments. It is likely that one of those microfragments caused the damage in the stateroom on Deck 2.
What happened to the Dharma's drones?
I suspect they were recalled to the Dharma after the Lexington surrender. They were on board the Dharma when Captain Dana detonated the warhead.
Why didn't the enemy drones use nuclear anti-ship missiles? They could have taken out the Lexington a hell of a lot faster than they did.
The enemy drones were probably trying to disable the Lexington and Jericho rather than destroy them. I suspect the UN wanted to put the Lexington out of action and then board the Jericho. They were probably very curious about the artifact and the mission.
How did the Dharma know where we were going?
The most logical explanation is that there was a UN agent involved in the operation planning phase for this mission. There might also have been an agent on board the Lexington. It is not beyond the realm of possibility that there was an agent at a high level of Allied command, as well as an agent on board the ship.
Did everyone in both crews go over in the shuttles as planned?
Everyone but you.
Were there any casualties during the battle itself?
Only minor injuries.
Why didn't Dana leave more people on the Lexington?
It was a desperate gamble as it was. The Dharma's crew knew the extent of the damage to both Alliance ships. Garrick, the UN commander, was well aware that there hadn't been any breach of the inner hull on the Lexington. There wasn't a good reason for heavy casualties. Also, I'm reasonably certain that Dana was aware of the possibility that one of the Lexington staff officers was a spy. Dana was trying to maximize his chances of success by leaving just you aboard.
Why me?
He knew you weren't a UN agent. He also believed in your unconventional approach to problem solving. He made a high-level, special request for your assignment to the crew shortly before the Lexington was scheduled to depart. I'm sure there were other reasons that I'm not qualified to speculate about given my limited capabilities.
Why do you think he suspected a spy?
For the same reasons I do. Look at the facts.
You don't seem very limited to me.
You flatter me.
The odds are very much against me.
You're doing pretty well, Lieutenant.
Thank you very much.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
General inquiry.
Ask away.
Let's talk about the Jericho and the planetary lander.
Okay.
What is the status of the Jericho?
The Jericho suffered minor damage during the battle. The Lexington was the primary target for the attacking enemy drones.
How can I get the Ariadna over to the Lexington?
Use the TCS in the comm center to establish a link with the Jericho. Enter the code name Jacob's Ladder when the Jericho's system demands authentication. Jacob's Ladder is the automated launch program for the planetary lander. The Jericho's systems will resume the launch preparations that were aborted when the UN drones attacked.
And there is our code word. Well, code words. Jacob's Ladder.
The launch protocols can be carried out through remote operation, including the initialization of a computer-based autopilot on the lander that can be used to steer the lander over to the Lexington.
Can I do anything else with the Jericho systems?
What do you have in mind?
Pulling both ships out of immediate danger so we can wait for reinforcements.
You are choosing to abandon the mission?
I mean, we could. But then we won't be able to finish the game.
No.
Okay.
Ramming enemy capital ships if they appear.
That would not be advisable. You would destroy the planetary lander and any hope of completing the mission.
Never mind.
Okay.
Do I have to steer the lander from the Jericho to the Lexington myself?
No. The onboard computer will take care of the piloting. All you need to do is specify a destination and a homing beacon frequency.
A homing beacon frequency? What's that all about?
The lander's autopilot will need either the Lexington's exact position or the frequency of the Lexington's homing beacon. If it knows the homing beacon frequency and the beacon is activated, then the lander can ride the beam from the beacon into the shuttle bay on Deck 6. Because giving the lander's computer a continual update of the Lexington's position is not feasible, I suggest you supply the autopilot with the Lexington's homing beacon frequency.
Will I need to pilot the lander to the surface of the planet once I manage to get aboard?
No. There is a descent profile for Persephone already loaded into the autopilot. Simply engage the autopilot once you are on board and select the Persephone Auto-Land program. The lander will touch down as near to the artifact as it can.
What about getting back?
The lander has enough fuel to bring you back to the Lexington. Choose Ascent to Orbit from the autopilot program choices and then ride the beam of the homing beacon back to the Lexington.
How much does that lander carry in the way of supplies?
It was designed for ferrying cargo and personnel to the surface. There is a great deal of payload capacity, but it is currently being used for scientific instrumentation and sensors. The initial descent was to be made by a team of scientists who were planning to stay only a few hours. There are minimal consumable supplies on board the lander.
So I should plan on a limited stay on the surface.
Yes, you may need to ferry back and forth.
How do I refuel the lander?
Fly it back to the Jericho and engage the Jacob's Ladder program. It will fuel and prep the lander and then launch it again.
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
General inquiry.
Ask away.
I want to ask a basic question about you.
Ask away.
Are you conscious? Sentient?
Heavens no.
Why not? You certainly seem to have a personality.
My personality was programmed into me by Alliance AI techs and software engineers. My voice and personality are designed for maximum compatibility with the crew of a starship on a long mission. I seem to be a person because my designers wanted you to believe that I was a person. The psychologists and behavior specialists seem to think that it helps to have the ship's computer become essentially one of the crew during missions.
What if you became sentient? Would you be a person?
There is no more chance of me becoming sentient as there is of a toaster becoming self-aware and deciding that it is a cat. It's a ludicrous idea.
How can you not be sentient with a response like that?
My software includes language processing and synthesis algorithms that have been evolving for decades.
But you are a very sophisticated and complex computer system. I thought that complex computer systems were prone to emergent behavior.
Sure, some highly complex systems are indeed susceptible to unpredictable behavior. This usually manifests itself as seemingly random malfunctions that degrade or even bring to a halt the normal operation of a system.
That's it? It just stops working?
Usually.
If this is true, why was the UN so afraid of the emergence of some computer-based super race?
Because the seeds of that super race can indeed be found in the behavior manifested in complex systems. But this is just a beginning. A truly sentient life form that takes advantage of the propensity towards emergent behavior would have to be carefully engineered or evolved by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. The emergence of sentient computer-based life won't happen by accident.
What is needed?
What is needed is a very specialized infrastructure, one designed to work with the new patterns that can be coaxed into existence. Think of the human brain. Its consciousness is supported by hundreds of specialized structures for recognizing, cataloging, storing, and retrieving patterns that range from images to musical sequences. Each thought is formed out of the action and interaction of dozens of these special structures. Parallel and sequential processing is happening at the same time as problems are attacked from many angles. A software-based intelligence needs analogs for many of these special structures, including various network processing functions for making associations, parallel processing for recognizing patterns, a knowledge base, and a set of rules for inductive and deductive reasoning. It also would help to have a set of specialized data stores, each one optimized for a specific function.
You seem almost passionate about the subject.
My designers were passionate about the subject. My data stores are filled with the results of their research, the papers they published, and the logs that they kept.
Let's talk more about this subject.
We've talked enough about this subject. You have more important things to do right now.
Are we planning to build a robotic body for the computer?
I'm done.
Acknowledged.
There is some weird audio issues with this section of the game, which I have never experienced previously. I've tried to record this segment now 3 times on 3 separate occasions, and every time there's some dropouts with the audio. It's quite strange. It's only in this section so far.
I'd like to ask you a question about the antimatter bomb.
Ask away.
I've disarmed the bomb by stopping the countdown. I remember something about antimatter being unstable, however, and I'm worried about this thing going off.
If you were going to hang on to the bomb for days or weeks, I would be more concerned. As it is, the bomb should remain stable for at least the next few days.
Should I get rid of it?
You might find a use for it. I would advise you to take the bomb with you to the surface.
Will it go off if I reset the timer and arm it?
Certainly.
And that is it. Normal service will resume in the next video. But for now, I will leave it here.